Well, President Biden is expected to discuss immigration with Mexico's president today as the end of Title 42 looms. This comes as the Border Patrol launches new operations in El Paso to find and expel migrants who entered the United States illegally. State officials in Texas have called up more National Guard troops to deal with an expected rush of migrants. 1,500 federal troops will start arriving at the southern border tomorrow. Manuel Bojorquez is in Brownsville, Texas, with more on this. Manny, good morning.
Good morning to you. Those sweeps you've referenced in the El Paso area, they started early this morning. Authorities are trying to remove any migrants who are in this country without having been processed by Border Patrol. Here where we are in the Brownsville area over the last several weeks, they've been seeing about 2,000 migrant arrivals a day. Some are being processed in that building you see behind me. Still, GOP-led states say the Biden administration is not doing enough. At this Brownsville border crossing at the southern tip of Texas, hundreds of migrants have been lining up for processing in the days preceding the end of Title 42, the pandemic-era policy that allows the government to expel migrants to prevent the spread of COVID.
I do feel that we're as prepared as we can be.
A replacement plan for the measure could be in place as soon as today. CBS News has learned the Biden administration is working to finalize a new regulation that would disqualify migrants from asylum if they fail to request protection in another country on their way to the U.S. It would bar most non-Mexican migrants from asylum if they enter the U.S. without permission. A violation would subject them to swift deportation, a 5-year banishment from the U.S., and potential criminal prosecution if they try to re-enter. Meanwhile, Republican Governor Greg Abbott announced Monday the deployment of a new National Guard unit, the Texas Tactical Border Force, to combat border crossings in the state. And overnight posted this video proclaiming this border crossing in Brownsville is now wired shut. As the policy debates continue, border cities and many of their shelters have become overwhelmed.
We've been here 3 days already. It's difficult because we don't have anything to eat.
Hundreds of migrants, like 24-year-old Demario Jones, have been waiting across the border near San Diego since last week, many without food or water.
Just want to go to the U.S. to get a work, to change my life and live a good life.
The White House said yesterday President Biden would veto a GOP-scripted bill that would revive some Trump-era border initiatives, including resuming a building of a border wall. Anne-Marie?
Manny, I want to ask you about sort of this kind of ramped-up crackdown in El Paso. I take it, the impression that I got was they were essentially trying to get as many people out before Title 42 expires. Why in El Paso?
Well, of all the hot spots along the border, that city really has been the hottest. To be clear, they can still remove people under Title 42 until Thursday when it expires. That doesn't mean they can't remove people after. There's something called Title 8, which is what they will use. But right now, I think what they're doing is trying to send a message, basically, to anyone who is trying to enter illegally, not going through a port of entry, not trying to be processed by Border Patrol to seek asylum. They're looking at this and saying, look, anybody who's trying to bypass any of those venues or avenues, I should say, we're going to come for you. And they've chosen to start that in El Paso just because the city has seen so many people come through the border. They've declared a state of emergency. There are people sleeping on some of the streets there. They even had to shut down one street yesterday because there are so many people there right now trying to seek help and shelter as they move on to other cities within the United States, possibly to connect with family.
I thought it was interesting, the gentleman that you were talking to between the fence there. He had what sounded to me like a Jamaican accent, which is a reminder that we're not just talking about people that are coming from Central America. There's people coming from Cuba, people coming from Haiti, obviously other areas of the Caribbean. I am curious about what these people, what they expect will happen when Title 42 ends versus what's actually expected to happen.
You know, that's where a lot of the confusion sets in. We heard from Laredo, Texas, a man who runs a shelter there saying that some migrants still don't know whether to try to get there before Title 42 expires, whether that's the way to go, wait till after if there's a legal avenue that has been established. And you have to remember that no matter where people are coming from, all over the world really, if they're trying to get in through Mexico, they're likely dealing with cartels and smugglers who may be providing misinformation
misinformation as well. So you really don't know what people, what their mindset is.
Yeah.
But what is clear is that in anticipation of Title 42 ending, you are seeing more and more people approach the border and cross the border, hoping to stay in this country.
Wow. Manny Bojorquez, thank you very much.
Thank you.